What's going on, everybody? Greetings and salutations and welcome back to the channel. Always happy to see you guys here. And welcome to my ranking of all four I Know What You Did Last Summer films. With the new film currently in theaters right now, I thought I'd take this opportunity to go over my highs and lows of this franchise from worst to best. And if you've not checked them out yet, I have the reviews for all four films in the link in the description down below, so check those out when you can. And speaking of, admittedly, some things will get said here that's a little different from what I said in those reviews, but not by much. I still stick to what I said in those reviews. I never lie. Point being, some things have changed, but not much. Some things I might have missed, but not by much. I have mad nostalgia for those first two films. Those, of course, came out post-Scream. It was the late 90s. That was just before my teen years. So by the time my teen years started, that's when I started noticing these films. So needless to say, I have a connection with them. I have a definite connection to those first two films. But admittedly, I've never really thought of those films as superior. The I Know What You Did Last Summer films has never been that quite as big a seller for me as Ghostface was. But they're watchable, especially those first two films. They're watchable. With that being said, let's get this thing kicked off, starting with the lowest of the low, the bottom of the barrel. And I think everybody can agree with me on this. Coming in at number 4 is I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. This makes the third entry in this series. And quite frankly, if there was a Razzie Award for worst possible offensive sequel, this would take the cake and shit it out just as quick. I'm telling you guys, there was nothing creative here. This one holds almost no connection to those first two films. And you can tell it was a very low budget because they do this weird camera choice to where they make the whole entire film feel like a flashback sequence. Like the whole entire thing is just so flashy to a certain point where I couldn't even watch it because it was just so flashy. It just came off like a dream sequence. I wanted this to be not real at all. I wanted to wake up and actually picture myself watching a better movie. Again, it was just so uncanny on how they decided to make this one, and it's just unbelievable. Again, there's no creativity here to where you have these group of kids that plays a prank on each other to where somebody ends up dying. And the prank that they play on each other is from the supposed legend that they kind of mention in passing from those first two films. But the problem with that is that they treat the first two films as a legend, like it never happened at all, but yet they mention those first two films, and it's such a disrespect to the franchise because of that, and that they just treat it like a legend. That was just horrible in itself. And you have a group of characters that I cared nothing about, none of which stood out at all. Every single one of them seemed like they were coming off of a soap opera, and they just brung their soap opera-ish characters to this film because none of the acting was believable. I didn't believe for a second about anything that these characters was going through because they wasn't putting their all in it. Nothing about these characters stood out whatsoever because the cold hard fact was nobody was doing anything. And they all just came off like they just didn't care, so why should I? Oh, the topper of the topper, though, is the fact that they made the unilateral decision to make this a supernatural flick to where you have the killer, spoiler alert, who's the ghost of Ben Willis from those first two films, which was stupid within itself. And not only that, is you get all these lores about how the hook, the original hook that he uses, is a way to defeat him, which gave out nothing whatsoever. And then they do this whole thing to where they shove the ghost into this wood chipper as a way to defeat him. Now, I don't know much about ghosts, but I'm pretty sure a wood chipper will not do the job on a ghost. But that's how they went about it. It's like they shove this ghost into the wood chipper. It's like, hooray, it's defeated. The evil is defeated. No, no, no.
You're wrong.
Just everything about this film was just wrong. Everything about it was just bad. Nothing about this film screamed it so bad that it was good at all. Like, not even watchable. So that's why at number 4, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Coming in at number 3, unfortunately, is the new kid on the block, I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Now, look, I had no confidence in this. Walking into this, I really wasn't expecting much. That third film broke me to the point to where, like, did we really need another one? Was there really that much of a high demand for another one? That being said, I seen it. Meh. Now, I did have to go see it a second time. I needed to go see it a second time just so I could make sure to see if I felt the same way. Even though I did the review for this one, I said what I said. I stick to what I said in that review. But there are some minor tweaks I need to make sure that I say in this video just for the sake of it. But again, like I said at the beginning, I don't lie in my reviews. It's just some things that I missed. That being said, on the bright side, this is a much better made film than that third film. I think anybody on God's green earth can agree with me on that. It is a much better made film. It's more controlled. There's more substance here. I'll give them that. Now, the one thing I do got to tweak a little bit here, differ from what I said in my review, is the kills. I said in my review that the kills were actually pretty awesome, but on second watch, not so much. Not so much. The kills kind of came off as sort of like it was trying to be a PG-13 type, to where you have one kill that's as bloody, that's a little bloody, is a little gruesome. Then you have another one that's trying to restrain itself. So I'm thinking to myself, what are you being shy about? Just be a full-blown R-rated I Know What You Did Last Summer and be done with it. Just go all out with the Carnage Candy. Now, I did like the fact that the killer kind of strings people up and puts them on display. That was pretty gruesome. That was actually pretty awesome. But to me, the kills, especially the second watch around, the kills kind of came off as shy. It seems like it was trying to aim for more of the PG-13 feel, to where some of the kills looked like they were edited in. Some shots, some bloody shots in the editing stages, to where you should have just gone full gore in the first place. So that was a little disappointing. It was cool seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt back on the big screen. I did enjoy seeing them. I just wasn't quite big on how they were utilized. Especially Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, which got the least screen time. And there was certain moments to where she really very easily could have been a part of what went down. But she only shows up 2 or 3 times, and that's it. I wasn't that big on the killer reveal. It's getting harder and harder, especially nowadays, which is probably why they don't do as much of these whodunit films. But it's getting harder and harder to satisfy a really good killer reveal, where you have a killer reveal and the motive and the reason why they are doing what they're doing. Here, it just wasn't that satisfying. It was weak, and it was a little bit stale, and that was a little disappointing. And you had some characters here, which in my original review I said I didn't like a single one of them, which that's true. But they did the best they could with what they were given. They did the best what they could with the type of characters that they were playing, this Gen Z flavor to it. I just didn't quite care on how they handled some of them. Like, there was this one character that just kept on breaking jokes every second when they were trying to be serious. And I'm like, shut up. Just shut the hell up. And also, the main problem with these characters was the dialogue that they were given. It just didn't make them seem like human beings at all. It's like nobody talks like the way that they do in this film. I know you don't go to a film like this to see Shakespeare or story plot lines or anything, but come on, just give us something. Just give us a little bit of a realistic take. And as far as the fisherman goes, I've never really been sold on this character. Again, compared to Ghostface, Ghostface just has that iconic look about him, to where the fisherman, he's just bland, he's pale, he's kind of dull. But on a brighter note, for this new I Know What You Did Last Summer film, at least they made him look a little bit more stoic, a little bit more intimidating. There was certain camera angles to where it actually showed a better side to this killer, and I did appreciate that. It's like they tried to give him a boost a little bit compared to those first 2 films. I really did appreciate that. So that's another thing I gotta get this new one. But point being, was this a bad film? Was this unwatchable? No. Especially compared to that third one, no. It still has some moments in this new one, but It still wasn't the best. It was still a little disappointing, and that's why number 3, the new I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Coming in at number 2, and I was kind of debating on whether to put this at number 1 or not, but I gotta go with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, this one is the one that I watched the most growing up. This is the one that I had the most fun with. I was entertained by the most, but it's mostly out of pure nostalgia. However, I do acknowledge the slew of issues and problems that this film has, and it's got a lot, which is the main reason why this is at number 2 instead of number 1. Although I wanted it to be number 1, but let's be fair. So I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Again, it's the one that I grew up liking the most, and it's the one that I pop in the most even to this day if I do decide to watch a I Know What You Did Last Summer film. To where you have this film as much sense that it doesn't make and as much flaws that it has, it's a fun watch. It's something that I really enjoy the most, and that's mainly because the kills in this was ramped up a little bit, and that's one of the main reasons why I go to this one the most, is because the kills and the carnage candy, not by much, not by Terrifier standard or anything, not everything needs to be Terrifier, but still, I'm just saying, the kills in this was revved up a lot. I did like the Bahamas setting as much to the story that didn't make sense, which I'll get into here in a little bit. I did like that setting, the feel of the stormy scenes, and just that classic old school horror feel because of that. And because I'm a Jack Black enthusiast and the Jack Black fan in me can't seem to really hate the guy, I never really had a problem with the pot-smoking pothead that Jack Black played in this. He got some chuckles out of me, that's for sure. I know a lot of people says that they hated that character, they despised that character, but I personally enjoyed him. For all its quirks and all his flaws, I enjoyed the character, but again, Jack Black biased here, so oh well. Again, it is what it is. With that being said, one of the main problems this film had was the fact that you have this killer who cooks up this plan to get all these people to the Bahamas just so he could try to kill them there, when he very easily could have killed them right where they stood at the beginning of this film, in Southport or wherever Julie James was, in that campus. It would have made it for like a good Scream 2 scenario to where she was getting attacked at that campus. Instead, he goes through great lengths and a waste of everybody's time and his own to get all these people to the Bahamas and tries to kill them there instead. It just never made sense to me, especially in my adult years, to why he would cook this whole plan up with this game show host that they supposedly won a trip to the Bahamas, which you find out that was a whole fake. That was all set up by the killer as well, and it's like, why would you do all that when you very easily could have just killed them right there where they stood? It just never made sense to me. Mekhi Phifer's character was annoying. He was very insufferable, always complained about every little thing. He was getting a little nerve-wracking. Then you have the Brandy character, which I've kind of lightened up on since my review a little bit. But you have this character in Brandy who's cool as a character, but as a friend, not so much. Always trying to get Julie into hooking up with this weird wheel guy, and always discrediting Ray, who's actually trying to make a life for himself. But Brandy's like, no, don't go with him. Just go with this guy instead. You don't need a guy with his life together. You need this guy. That always became annoying to me. And speaking of the Will character, he's just odd. He's just weird and awkward, and at times very extremely annoying, even more so than Mekhi Phifer's character. Now there is a version of this character that I could have seen work a lot better. It would have focused on a much better character. It would have focused on a much better interpretation of this character. But instead, we get a guy who has no idea why he's there. There's even a scene where he pulls up and picks the girls up, picks Brandy and Jennifer Love Hewitt up, and he just does like this. Oh, I don't know why I'm here. I watch Party 5, so touch it. And if that wasn't enough, it's blatantly obvious that this guy has some kind of tie-in with the killer. Because at the end, when you get that line, come on, Julie, you get it? Will Benton? Benson. Oh. Yeah, somebody actually wrote that. Can you believe it? And the award goes to Worst Writing Ever. So yeah, that was just cheesy within itself, and it was just bad writing. Unfortunately, that's one of the things that kind of killed this franchise for a lot of people. And unfortunately, it just happened, and it is what it is. I know I rambled on too much about this. Why is this your number 2 when it's so close to number 1? Well, again, it's mostly for nostalgic factor. It's one that I actually do like watching the most, despite its flaws, its many, many flaws. It is a fun time. It is so bad that it's good. It's got a lot of moments like that, so that's why number 2, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now coming in at number 1 is the original I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997. Now this one is one of those that I still don't pop in that much, but every time I do, I praise the storytelling and the mysteries and just the way the writing was handled, the characters. I love Jennifer Love Hewitt in this. I think she's the ultimate scream queen. I said in my review, forget Jamie Lee Curtis. Go with Jennifer Love Hewitt. Because if I was judging that, she would definitely be top runner-up. Because she's got a set of lungs on her that just screams Final Girl. And all through the third act, it just shows it clearly. Plus, again, with all the mystery with Anne Heche's character and her story arc and how it just throws you in a loop. It goes 180 on this side and then pulls another 180 on that side and then pulls a 360 on this side. Just all the twists and turns. It was very smartly written, of course. Hats off to Kevin Williamson, and he was definitely good at doing that, just throwing you through a loop, and definitely being good at what he does with writing self-awareness, which is one of the main problems, another main problem that the new one had. The new one didn't have his guidance, so the new one didn't know how to be tense and how to actually build up anything. With the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, it does all that plus tenfold. Now, I know I'm talking a big game here. Yes, it's still one that I don't pop in that much because I like a horror film that's more carnage-filled. This one always seemed more Hitchcockian to me than anything else. There was one kill in there that did actually grab me, which is when Leonard from Big Bang Theory got it through the throat, with the hook through the throat. That was actually pretty cool, but other than that, that's about the only gory kill you get. They kept it really tame in this, which is, again, not a fair reason, but it is one of the reasons why I don't really pop this in that much. But the storytelling, it's definitely something to be had here. It's definitely something for you to enjoy on that aspect. Plus, you have a great chase scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar and the killer here, where she's being chased throughout that building, and then down the alleyway, and then unfortunately she gets it. But that's one of those most iconic scenes that usually gets brought up whenever people talk about this. And the identity of the killer, it was very cool. I know I didn't talk about this much or at all, but Moose Watson I thought was awesome as the killer. I always thought that he was like the epitome of a psychopath, just the way he carries himself, especially when he was revealed. Plus the red herring thing to where you have Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character always absent, to where you don't get much screen time with him, but you kind of think, oh, okay, maybe there's something going on with him when there's really nothing at all, and they try to play it, this guy as being the killer and that guy being the killer, but then whenever you see who the killer is, even though you don't really see him until like the very end, well, he's the guy that they hit at the beginning, which turns out he was already a murderer anyway, so you were screwed either way. And that's the vibe I got from him, so I really did enjoy that. I really did enjoy that aspect and that, you know, just big reveal. Plus the motivation was so much better here than it was in the new one. And with the killer himself, not Moose Watson, but when he's dressed up in the slicker outfit, which I don't even know if that's the actor, it's probably a stunt double, but I never really thought that high of this character of the killer. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it never really screamed out Ghostface style, because Ghostface had a certain style about him which was more popular. I was just never really sold on the fisherman from these, but it was still enjoyable to watch. It's still a fun time to watch, so that's why I Know What You Did Last Summer from 1997, number 1. Well, that's it for this one, guys. What is your ranking of these? What is your most favorite to least favorite? Do you have one? Is this your favorite franchise? Do you prefer this over any other slashers? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking here and watching this. As always, I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing if you like what you see. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.